The ICRC team is off to visit the village of Santa Cruz in the municipality of Giporlos. Even for ICRC veterans like Helen, the geographically challenging terrain of Samar poses numerous challenges.
I remember back then in January, my colleague saying that for 30 days they saw the sun twice only. Imagine today we are sitting in a village which is slightly upland. The road is made of mud. Imagine that, heavy rains. How can we access this place? It's a challenge. It's very important that we should also focus our humanitarian assistance and effort to all the communities who suffered from Yolanda. In some cases like this one, it's a bit remote, it's a bit more difficult to access. But we are talking of a community here of roughly 61, 62 families, out of which today we came to start delivering the very first shelter. Probably you will ask me, today it's been almost 6 months, why are we providing a shelter today? Let me just explain that, when such a tremendous disaster hit a community, Samar Island, and among other islands in the country actually, the first needs that need to be addressed are related to potable water, food, essential household items such as tarpaulins, jerry cans, clothes sometimes, etc., etc.
Despite efforts by the ICRC and the Philippine Red Cross to ensure the immediate concerns over food, water and medical care have been addressed, high levels of pre-existing poverty are holding people back from rebuilding their lives, livelihoods and homes.
Nakita ko yung sarili ko, nakakaawa yung mga tao, tapos mostly naka-tent lang sila. Kasi ako po nakatira lang sa tent. Kaya kung ano yung nararamdaman ng mga tao dito, parang nararamdaman ko na rin. Lalo na yung hanap buhay nila dito yung nyug. So makikita mo talaga yung nyug nila dito, wala na.
After a lengthy process of dialogue with the communities and the authorities, the ICRC and its partners identified the most vulnerable as priority households who will become the beneficiaries of the new shelter program.
We wanted to target on households who lost everything. Their home is completely destroyed. We wanted to focus on households that includes large family members. We wanted to include households that are single-headed households, like a woman is taking care of a whole family, or families where you have disabled people, where you have a certain amount of children below a certain age. That would be some of the criteria we had to select.
Living in a tent and a trapal, when it is sunny day, it is very warm. The temperature goes to 38, more than 39. It is really very warm, not conducive for our children. And during rainy days, the rain is pouring to us while we are sleeping. We get up. So I hope that shelter project will continue.
The wood neatly stacked up against each household was actually cut from the felled coconut trees downed by Typhoon Yolanda. Through Cash for Work projects, skilled chainsaw operators get paid for cutting the wood according to specification, and workers who've undergone carpentry training will then put up the shelter.
The level of destruction that has been left by this typhoon. So key sectors like the coconut trees, which they used to produce copra and employed a lot of people, those sectors have been quite severely damaged because of this. These trees are assets, yeah? They're assets for the community that can be used in the reconstruction, in the recovery process. Through our Cash for Work program, we've got teams, workers from the communities going in there, clearing lumber, slicing it, cutting it up into lumber that can be used to build shelters. So that's quite a big outcome, I think, from the Cash for Work project, that we can bring workers in, we can give them some opportunity to get some short-term income, and at the same time we can turn these trees that are otherwise just of no use anymore into something productive.
The Cash for Work program will support the building of shelters like this one, designed during the response to Typhoon Pablo Bopa in eastern Mindanao. ICRC PRC engineering teams plan to build up to 6,000 storm-resilient shelters for the Haiyan-affected families on Samar Island.
This is just to ensure that the foundation of the shelter are strong enough to allow a life expectation, let's say, of the shelter to be longer and to be more resistant to, for instance, strong wind. So it's very important to have our engineers, through the PRC volunteers, explain again and again to the community how to build it, along with our carpenters, obviously, how to build it to make it really as sustainable as possible.
But it's a race against time, as international NGOs and their Philippine counterparts rush to build more shelters all across the affected areas of Samar. Around 20 typhoons hit the Philippines each year, and most typhoons occur from June to November. No one knows what the coming typhoon season will bring. Although many Typhoon Haiyan survivors continue to live in areas where conditions remain very precarious, they remain resolute, demonstrating mahabang pasensya, which means tremendous patience.